Hello! Some of you are here because you liked Arcane, or maybe you have friends who play and have always been curious about League of Legends. You've toyed with the idea of trying it. If you ask friends about it,
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
a lot of them will immediately tell you to run away while you still can and provide no further elaboration, which for one is weird, but it's also not a satisfying answer. In this video, we're going to properly discuss the good, the bad, and most importantly answer the age-old question, is League of Legends worth trying in 2025? Now let's start with the bad. League has a lot of red flags. It's basically the equivalent of a Tinder profile of a toothless man standing in front of a Confederate flag holding a fish and an assault rifle. For a game with millions of players, it's bizarre that so many of them seem to hate it. You would think someone with thousands of hours in a hobby would be passionate for it and encourage others to play, so what's up with this? Most of the players who say they hate League really just hate their level of play. Anyone can be frustrated with dedicating a lot of time into something to not be happy with the results. This is completely understandable. It's easier to come to the conclusion of League being bad rather than reflect on where the frustration comes from. Most people wouldn't actually spend a ton of time on something they truly hate unless something's wrong with them. However, League does have some genuine issues. It's pretty standard for video games to be toxic these days, but even then, League has an exceptionally rough community. The fact that it's a common consensus among players that the game is bad or not worth playing is a testament to this. Much like Twitter or YouTube comments, people can be meanies in the game chat. Let's just say the chat filter has some room for improvement, and whenever Riot does block problematic language, players are real innovators for getting around it. Players are toxic for a variety of reasons. Many are immature, overly focused on getting a win, and proceed to have a tantrum as soon as they think they might lose. Others are immature, play League to avoid thinking about their own unhappiness, and have a tantrum when they lose. Some players are immature, their ego is fragile, and then they have a tantrum when they're doing poorly. But the last group is my favorite. They're immature, have a fragile ego, and antagonize their opponent when they're doing well. At the end of the day, many gamers game for the wrong reasons, have some difficulties going on in their lives, and show that with their behavior. While we're on the subject of toxicity, some other negatives that come to mind for League are things outside of your control that lead to poor game quality. Sometimes people will intentionally sabotage a game. This is called inting. Think of it like trying to play soccer where one of your teammates tries to score own goals the entire game.
Right there. Oh, basically, I'm just gonna keep on doing that.
This obviously sucks and it wastes everyone's time. League also has a decent amount of smurfing, which is when someone of a much higher rank plays in low rank games that they don't belong in. This is like being a professional basketball player and dunking on middle schoolers for fun. Both of these scenarios suck for anyone to deal with, and there needs to be more effort put into resolving these problems. They don't happen all the time, but still more than necessary. The most significant problem with League, especially for new players, is that it's really hard. There's this dude Rohan who got the top rank on every single one of Riot's games. Out of League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, and Wild Rift, he said that League was by far the hardest. There are a few reasons for this. For one, the MOBA genre is not as common as things like shooters, card games, auto chess, so people generally have less translatable experience going into League. Even if you ignore this point entirely, League is a very complicated game. It has 169 champions, all of which have 4 or more abilities, passives, auto attacks, and different functions in the game. Additionally, there are a bunch of items that all do different things, and the game is 5 versus 5, so you need to keep track of a lot of information on the screen at once. League is overwhelming as hell when you're new to it. It's hard to even make sense of when you're new. There isn't even a proper tutorial for new players, so a lot of people feel thrown into the ocean when they don't know how to swim. Part of why so many veterans tell people not to bother is it took us so long to learn the game. Thinking back to being new and clueless is daunting and leads to telling other people not to try it. Okay, enough with the bad, let's talk about the good. League is a genuinely amazing game. I made this channel, please subscribe, because of how much I love the game and I want to help people improve and enjoy themselves. League of Legends is the best game I've ever played for many reasons. First off, the downsides are not really downsides. League's toxic community is easily avoided. It's easy to report people, mute their messages, or just have the chat off entirely. It's crazy to me how much people complain about the community just to ignore the fact that most immature behavior is avoidable. The only aspect you can't avoid is when people intentionally sabotage game quality, but this doesn't happen in the vast majority of games. Riot has also listened to feedback about this and have been working on improving the effectiveness of reporting. It being hard to detect sabotage, combined combined with needing to minimize false positives, makes it a hard problem to fully solve. The other major negative I listed was about League being hard, but this is actually a great thing. Just about anything you try to learn with little experience is going to be rough at first. In fact, that's why it's worth doing. Theodore Roosevelt has a great quote: "Nothing in the world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain, difficulty." I've never in my life envied a human being who led an easy life. I have envied a great many people who led difficult lives and led them well. Learning League will challenge you more than any other game. It's complicated, hard to execute, and painful at first. The great challenge makes the reward more worth it. The brutality of learning League makes it an especially great avenue for personal growth. The sheer challenge will pretty quickly bring up personal weaknesses. Stuff like limiting beliefs, lack of persistence, fear of failure. League can and will bring all of that up. I know that sounds terrible, but it gives you a safe avenue to face your personal struggles and overcome them. Issues that come up in League are already prevalent in other parts of your life, so tackling them will improve you as a person. League is good for your brain. We're living in an era where brain rot activities are at an all-time high. Attention spans are getting shorter as more short-term content is getting more and more popular. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, even stuff like Reddit promote mindlessly scrolling looking for something you like. On the contrary, League is a mentally challenging game with lots of things to keep track of over a 30-minute match. It requires a lot of focus, intensity, and effort to perform well. Reducing the amount of time you spend doing passive, spectation-based activity to instead do something that challenges and engages your mind is a good idea. This is backed up by research. Gong and others in 2019 found that higher-ranking League players were correlated with superior connectivity in their central executive network and default mode network. These are brain networks associated with things like focus, decision-making, memory, planning, and reasoning. There was a different study that showed that League players had a higher IQ on average compared to other gamers. While the sample size was too small and uncontrolled to really draw conclusions from, I'm still gonna go with playing League gives you a bigger brain. Okay, so League is challenging, can help me grow, and might be better for my brain than TikTok. Why play League specifically? It's free. The worst thing that happens is you try it and decide it's not worth the time investment. Outside of cost, there's a lot that makes it great. There's amazing variety in the game. There are 169 characters to choose from. This makes it so that there's a champion for everyone. You can always find someone that meshes with your personality. Having so many champions to choose from, millions of players, and 10 people in a given match makes every game feel incredibly unique. Additionally, the game gets patched every 2 weeks, so things change up often to keep the game fresh. League is aesthetically pleasing. I personally like colorful games, and League hits all the marks in this category. Even for an old game engine, the map, units, and champions are all very vibrant. Along this note, League is truly unparalleled in the cosmetics department. The in-game cosmetics, called skins, make your character and their spells look different, and they are really well done. They're consistently high quality and reliable at this point. For the most part, they are affordable. Most skins cost around $10 and frequently go on sale. Even if you don't want to spend money, you will get free skins over time as well. League has a great matchmaking ranking system, otherwise known as MMR. This game is really good at figuring out your skill level and putting you in the right games. This makes almost every match, whether casual or ranked, feel competitive and challenging. What further contributes to this is the fact that Riot has by far the best anti-cheat out there for gaming. I know some people don't like Vanguard, but I personally am grateful for it because it does its job really well. I can honestly say I've not seen a cheater in a long time. League's rank system is amazing. The ranks are accurate to player skill, which makes them more meaningful and rewarding. Riot does a great job celebrating your progress. You get a fancy animation of your rank increasing whenever you go up a division, and then 3 times a year you can get a skin based off the rank you achieve. No other game does as good a job of this. The main complaint I've heard about the rank system lately is that 3 splits a year resets ranks too often. Luckily, since Riot listens to feedback, they're making rank reset only once a year so people don't have to grind as much. Okay, so I've been babbling about how good League is, but why join a game when we're so late into its existence? Isn't it going to die soon? Nope. Riot is committed to League's success, as evidenced by the fact that it's been at the top of gaming for over a decade, and we're still here talking about it 15 years after its release. League is at the top for a reason. It has been beautifully maintained and improved upon during its lifetime. Even though Riot's incentive to keep it around is money, they do make it in a fair way. Free-to-play games with paid cosmetics is a fair system that lets everyone do what they want with their money. On top of this, Riot is transparent with the community on why they do things, listen to feedback really well, and have obviously kept the game fun with great success. Even with all the positives, it is hard to learn a game when it's been out for so long. Everyone has more experience than you. I understand this concern, but luckily there has never been a better time to learn the game. Educational content from loved creators like Mistral or other people is at an all-time high. This is in both quantity and quality. League is better understood now than ever. People know how to teach the game really well these days. If you want to go the free route, tons of content is posted daily on YouTube, and there are communities like Summoner School where you can find free mentors. If you want to do the paid route, there are plenty of exceptionally good coaches out there, and the pricing is generally cheaper than other hobbies such as music. League can be an awesome part of your life if you let it be. I hope this video encourages you to try it or at least think about it in a new light. Thank you for watching, and be sure to let me know what you think about League in the comments.